Hello, and welcome to Secrets from Athletes, where we dive into what makes a top athlete and how you can apply their routines and mindsets to your own life. I'm your host, Andre Scholl, and today with me I have Garrett Woodhouse, a junior at Utah State and a runner there. How are you doing today, Garrett?
I'm doing excellent, thank you.
Great to hear. So, first thing, what exactly is steeplechase? I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen the sport itself.
Yeah, it's a really great question. Most people recognize the word steeplechase with horses, and that's kind of where it came from. So, steeplechase is generally a horses thing, but in track and field, there's also a steeplechase event. And so it's kind of like a hurdle race, but it's a long distance, and the hurdles are not, um, they're very thick and they're hard to push over. So if you hit one, you're more likely to fall than it falling over. And so the key to this race is that there's four steeples and one water pit. And in that water pit, you usually jump over the water instead of obviously swimming. So that's the goal.
So, a water pit itself, really?
Yeah, and the whole
How
race is
deep is the water pit?
it's slanted, and so at the bottom of the water pit, it's about 3.5 feet. By the top, where most people land, it's only a couple inches. And you go. The race is 3,000 meters, and you do the water pit 5 times.
hmm So, I'm guessing it's like a special type of track, not just on the regular track.
Actually, they use the regular type of track and they wheel out steeples onto the track. And there's a segment that most tracks have blocked off until it's needed, and that's where the water pit's located. They just fill it up.
Interesting. So, how'd you get into steeplechase? What made you decide, yeah, this is the run in, this is the sport I want to do?
That's a really good question because, it's not really a popular high school event. It was only once I went D1 and I was running at Utah State that my coach gave me the opportunity to try it, and I decided I'd like to.
Okay. So, then more on running in general, what made you choose running as kind of like your sport to do?
Yeah. Well, mostly I played soccer my whole life, and as the midfielder, known that I never stopped running, and so I actually started running cross country in high school to get in shape for soccer. My siblings ran track and field, so that was a good in for me. And at first, it was just I was very successful, so I stuck with it instead of transitioning back to soccer. And then I grew to love it, so that's why I stayed.
Now, of course, going D1 is no easy feat. So, how were you able to balance the sport and school and just having a life in general without burning out?
um, it really comes down to what you love. And at first, for me, it was my teammates. It was easy to have a social life and a good academic and competitive sport life as well because my teammates were my friends, my teammates, my motivation. And after a lot of practice, you put in the hours, you just start to love it. So once I started loving it, I enjoyed, I started to enjoy the process. So,
I feel like that's with get into that next level to succeeding in the sport. You really need to fall in love with the process, because
yeah,
with rowing, our races for me it's only 5 minutes, but we train for hours and hours. So it's like if you only love the race, you aren't truly into the sport. It's that process. I feel like that's where you really get the good stuff of the sport.
that's exactly right. I mean, I I had obviously you know just as much as me, but we sacrifice a lot to for our sport. But if you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like that.
Yeah, it it seems more like play than actual work towards the sport, and I think that's when you found your true sport. So I feel like to go Division 1, you've probably had people give you advice. What's the best piece of advice someone from your sport has given you?
Just to believe in myself. There's so many people that tell you can't do something in this world. It took someone who I respected a lot to tell me I could and tell me that you have unlimited potential. And just that mental switch was really big for me because, like, if I don't believe in myself, who will? And if I don't believe in myself, it's impossible to be experienced and successful.
I feel like that's honestly one of the biggest things a lot of people need to kind of have that, like you're saying, that mental switch is, even though it sounds like a harsh reality, no one is coming to save you. And it's truly that
Right.
self-belief. Exactly that. So talking about this mindset, that's probably a big challenge. What is the biggest challenge you faced in your sport, and how did you push through that challenge?
I think kind of with this mindset, I think when I started it, again, I told you it was just because I wanted to get in shape for soccer and I didn't love it. And so I originally faced a lack of success. And with that lack of success, a lack of love. And for me, it all just comes back to like, am I enjoying this or not? Because at that point, I wasn't. And it was really hard to keep going. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to. And I wasn't enjoying the process. I wasn't enjoying the result. So there's that lack of love. And to get through it, time, I stopped focusing on the results as much. And I started focusing more on the process, as we've mentioned. I started enjoying, just spending the hours in the woods, running or having time with my buddies. Like that's really what was meaningful, and with that I came to love the process, and then the results came after.
I feel like that's truly that with rowing itself for me, when I also have those moments where I'm like, I don't really know if I want to do this, I focus more on like those great times out on the water, or like you were saying, those great times running in the woods, just kind of truly
Sure.
being in the present moment.
Of course.
So, if you had to recommend one daily habit for athletes, this could be running specific or just in general as an athlete, what would you recommend?
Go to sleep. We are too busy. We are pushing our bodies too hard. We can't afford to lose a season to sickness or injury. And I think sleep is probably one of the things that matters the most. Because when you sleep, you don't just avoid injury, you also gain recovery. Your body gets stronger, your mind gets stronger, you're mentally more fortified. So, biggest advice is just go to sleep. Make sure you get your sleep and take care of yourself.
There's one statistic I saw. I don't remember the exact amount of hours, but I think it was like 7 hours. If you get less than 7 hours of sleep, your chance of injury like skyrockets by a lot. I think it was like 40%.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw something like that too. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, it's insane how this thing we're like, oh, we don't need sleep. How it's truly, I think, that key to success.
Yeah.
And when you say getting sleep, how many hours do you recommend?
Nine plus. And I'm not perfect with that. I would love to be. I would love to be a little bit better, and I'm still working on it. But if you're consistently getting 8.5, 9 hours, you're at least giving yourself the opportunity to see how good you really are. You're not limiting yourself mentally, physically, anything, by getting that sleep.
Mm-hmm. So I'm back to the idea of balancing everything with practices, with getting 9 hours of sleep, with study, with school. How do you create that good time management to get it all done?
Ooh, that's a good question, Andre. But I'd say, keep your priorities straight. There's only so much time in a day, and for me, I can't afford to open TikTok and scroll for a couple hours, because if I do, I'm not going to bed on time, or I'm not having meaningful relationships, or I'm not finishing my schoolwork. So I think to balance that, it's really just knowing what my priorities are, and for me, that's school, running, relationships, and honestly, maybe in running, school, relationships in that order. So,
Yeah, I feel like getting those true priorities, and like even if one of them is sacrificing short-term like dopamine of scrolling on TikTok to go for that long-term goal, that long-term like sacrifice and that long-term success.
exactly. I mean, I've never once regretted going to bed early. I've never once regretted not scrolling an hour more the day before. Like that, those things,
Yeah.
I never regret that.
Because it's like those things are more, you're going to forget what you saw when you scrolled that one.
Yeah, of course.
That success you can get from putting in that extra time, going to sleep early, having a better practice, getting maybe
Yeah.
more medals. You don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of competitions, you made it to the qualifying round of nationals last year, correct?
Correct.
So how was that whole process getting to that point? And what was your kind of like pre-race ritual? Like how do you get into the zone for those races?
Oh, that's a very good question. As far as how I got there, that was my first year really running steeplechase. I went in no barriers, no mindset barriers, no pun intended there. But I had no mental blocks really, and I went in expecting. I told myself I'd do it, and my first race I was like a couple seconds off the regional prelims qual, And over the season, I was able to accomplish that and get up to the pre-nationals race, which was really, really exciting for me and leading to great expectations in the future. But as far as my pre-race ritual, sleep in, relax, lay down. I enjoy having a more calm day, and then about an hour before my race, I turn up the heat metaphorically, where I listen to more fast music and I get myself excited and, you know, get pumped.
Sleep in. That's one thing I wish I could do before my races.
Yeah.
Fortunately, can't. Sometimes I need one race. I think I had to be at the river at 6 in the morning, like 2 hours
Oh,
before. Yeah, not fun
let me
stuff.
ask you, how do you eat? Like, because that's something that I've struggled with is eating before races. It's difficult. So,
My thing, it's I've just kind of made it this schedule for me. It's I have a slice of toast with butter on it and a protein shake, and that's it. That's all I have before
that's
the race.
it.
Yeah. If we
Well,
have 2 races, I might do some like fuel and have like beef jerky or something to like
sure,
keep
of
me up.
course.
But yeah, nothing too heavy.
Not pounding waffles before.
No, no. That I'd sink the boat. So how does the exact progression for track and field work through the system in college? Like for like get into the next level of competition, like all that.
Yeah. So in track and field, you race with your college team and you'll travel different races. In indoor, they take the top X amount of people to the national meet, and it's all based off time. And so at any point in the season, you can run a time and you'll qualify to go to nationals. In outdoor, there's the nationals I qualified to. They take the top 40 people from each region, so west and east regions, and at those preliminary meets, everyone races together, and they take the top 20 people the top 12, sorry, from each region, so you get a total of 24 at the national meet. And that race is just based off place, not time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I placed 20th in the West region last year, so I was 8 spots off qualifying for the national meet.
Okay. Something to shoot for next year.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So when you say the West and East regions, it's top 40 from each. How many, if you don't have a specific number, what's a rough estimate of a total amount of people who try to run an event in, let's say, the West, that those 40 are chosen from?
Oh, I don't know, because with track and field, for example, I run the 5K, the mile, the 3K steeple, and so you'll be doubling up in events, but I'd say upwards of 400 D1 athletes, 500 D1 athletes per event at least. Maybe more, 600, 800. It could be. There's hundreds of schools out there, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an insane accomplishment to like be in that top 40.
Yeah, of course.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you said you run all these different types of events. How do you? I mean, of course, sleep, but how do you like do the recovery between all of them? Like, do you run multiple types of events in one day, or is it?
Not usually. That's a high school classic where your coach puts you in 4 events in one day. But ever since in college, you'll train for one event, race it, and then you'll train for the next event. And usually the event that you're most successful at, you'll stick with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So since we were talking about Division I athletes who are some of the best in the country, what do you think separates a good athlete from the great ones? Do you think this also applies to successful people in life in general?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say first of all, the people who keep themselves accountable. We've talked about sleep together. We've talked about things like that. But along with that, I think a positive mindset, and with that, learning over failure. Because we're gonna have bad races. I mean, with crew, you're gonna have bad races. Track, you have bad races. You have bad games if you're playing other sports, and they suck, but they happen. And being a high caliber athlete is just as much mental as it is physical. So after those type of bad, poor performances, you have to be able just to blow it over and keep going with just as much optimism as you had before that. Because if you bog yourself down, you won't do well. And I think in the professional world, whether it's in a job or a new hobby, if you can't learn from your failures or you get too bogged down every time you can't do something, you're never going to become a high caliber whatever you're doing.
I feel like it's that ability to dissociate yourself like emotionally from what you did. So it's like
Yeah.
having that like, okay, I'm gonna look back at this with no emotion. What did I do well? What did I do wrong? What do I work on from here? But it's also having that like kind of there's a quote, I think it's from Ted Lasso, be a goldfish, where you have like a 10-second memory, just forget those negative things, keep going forward.
Yeah, and that's really hard too because going into races, you have to be all mentally present. You have to fully believe in yourself that you can do it. And it's hard if you just 2 weeks before you couldn't do it. So,
Yeah.
it's difficult to balance that goldfish mentality, but also believing in yourself fully.
But I feel like once you are able to balance that all, you truly there's no limit to what someone can reach because that self belief, that kind of desire to go forward.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said with races you need to be fully present in the moment. How do you like when you're pre-race? You probably have a bunch of adrenaline. Your brain's going everywhere. How do you get yourself centered for that moment?
Yeah. Well, for cross country and for track, there's a couple miles that you warm up. And so I get myself really excited, really hyped, listen to fast music, whatever. And then as soon as I start running, I unplug. I kind of just focus on my breathing. I laugh, and then I'm a little bit religious myself, and so before the races, I'll go and I'll say a little prayer. I'll wish, I'll ask God to give me the strength that I need if that's what He so desires, and it kind of helps, putting that load off myself, and then just focusing on the moment. You said it perfectly when you said be present in the moment. The 5K or the 10K, it's too long of a race to think about the end of 20 minutes later. Just you have to think of where you are right then, and that's helpful for me just to be present.
Because I feel that also removes kind of the emotional charge. Like if you're thinking about the future, oh, am I going too fast right now? Like I've had this with
Yeah,
throwing pieces. Am I pushing too hard right now? I'm gonna die later. It's no, focus in this moment. Just keep chugging.
yeah.
So we've talked about staying in the present, time management, and believing in yourself. Is there any other big lesson or skill you've learned from your sport that you apply outside of it?
Um, well, I don't know if this is kind of, I guess this is just for me maybe, but I think drinking water is a huge thing for me. I have my water right here.
Yeah.
I found if I drink more water, I'm more productive in school, and I feel a lot better. I feel more fueled. So drinking water is a really good habit that I've kept, and I'll definitely keep after I finish running. Besides that, I think just the ability to be determined to decide what you want and to follow a goal. Goal setting and goal following has been huge for me. And we've talked about that as well. So I think those are my two biggest ones.
To go into goal setting a little more, when you set goals, you don't need to give me any like specific goals, but like do you set a lot of short term, a lot of long term, like very far out ones that are like maybe I won't get there, but I'll get to this point? Like how do you set? What do you think is a good way to set a goal?
I think both, and you have to set short-term process goals as well as long-term result goals. Like I have long term, I have designs and plans to run at the Olympic trials, but that won't happen unless if my short term goals are go to bed by 10:30 tonight or 9:30 tonight, or just whatever it is. I think it's important to both have long term goals and short term goals, but to keep it more on the process and less focused on results that you can't control.
I feel like with goals, if you set those like short term goals that are like simple to attain, but you still need to put in the effort, it stacks those small wins. So while you still have a motivation for the long term goal, if your motivation somehow falls through, you fall back onto like this is all the small wins I've achieved. Keep going towards that long term goal.
Yeah, you said that very well.
So onto a more fun note, what's one of the funniest superstitions or stories you have from running? It could be your own, it could be someone else's you've heard.
Um, I'll say, and this is private speaking here. So, in high school, we were pretty superstitious as a team, and we always hung a pineapple from our tent. And depending on how the race went, we would take the pineapple into the woods. And besides that, I have no further disclosure to say what happens. But we believe strongly in the pineapple. I had pineapple bracelets, pineapple phone
Wow.
cases. So the pineapple is a big deal for me.
The pineapple was the symbol of success.
That's right.
All right. So, what are your future plans with studying at Utah State and the sport in general?
Yeah. I'm studying computer science with a minor in chemistry. My plan is to go into medical AI. I think it's a really cool field and it's pretty prevalent right now. And with the sport, I already mentioned it, but I'm going to the Olympic trials 2028. I will be there.
All right.
I'm only 15 seconds off the trials time qual already, and
You
I
got
have
that. You got that.
three years to get it. So I'm pretty excited, pretty pumped, and I expect I'll be there. That's my plan.
Hey, in 2028, I'll have you back on this podcast as a member
That's
of the Olympic
perfect.
trials. All right. So now on to the Blitz questions. This is a more fun part of the podcast. They aren't very serious questions. They're just kind of fun questions.
All right, hit me.
All right. Favorite season of the year?
Fall.
Fall? Any specific reason?
Being from Virginia, I love the trees. I love the leaves. I
Yeah.
love the colors. Yeah,
It's really beautiful here in the fall.
I know it is. It really is.
Favorite day of the week?
Ooh, Saturday.
Saturday? Any
Long
specific-
runs.
Long runs. Okay.
That's when the long run is. And after the long run, I had a nice nap, a big meal. I can't think of a better Saturday than that.
That sounds like the dream. All right. Who is your favorite music artist? This could be just in general or you're like hype up before a race.
Ooh. Probably Jack Johnson. Just good vibes all around. I wouldn't listen to him to hype up before a race, but probably my favorite artist is Jack Johnson.
All right. I'll need to check him out.
Please do.
All right. Favorite food? What's your favorite meal?
Chicken Alfredo. That's the runner definitely in me coming out, but there's nothing better than a good carbo load.
Yeah.
Even if
carb
you're not
load.
racing.
For rowing, we do that sometimes. I don't always get it because our races are 1,500 meters and we eat a crap ton of pasta. But hey, I'm not refusing pasta. What is your favorite animal?
The penguin.
Penguin?
Yep.
Any specific type of penguin or just in general penguins?
The sleek ones down in the South Pole, North Pole. The ones that are really skinny but really tall. I like those guys.
All right. Now, if you could do any sport other than track and field, you could go pro at any other sport, what would you choose?
Soccer, 100%. I'm
Okay.
already still planning. Once I'm done running, I'm joining a men's soccer league, staying in there for 50 years, and then I'll die.
You got it all planned out. I love it. What's your favorite soccer team? Because we're talking about soccer.
I think, and this might be a hot take, but they're a small team. I lived in Paraguay for a couple of years, and there's a team called Luque, and I love watching them. I love watching the Paraguayan team because they're just scrappy and hungry.
Those scrappy soccer games, I think, can always be the best because it's just that true, we want to win type of attitude.
Yep.
All right. That's all the questions I got. Thank you, Garrett, for being on. I wish you the best of luck this season and with the Olympic trials.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to Secrets from Athletes. Make sure to follow on Instagram at secrets_from_athletes. We're also on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We'll be back with more Secrets from Athletes to help you refine your mindsets and routines.